The Center for Global Business hosts the Leadership Perspective series to share brief, big picture interviews with senior leaders to highlight why a global mindset is critical to success. Today, we have Cate Prescott, Chief People Officer and Chief Culture Officer at Verra Mobility. Hello, Cate.
Hi, Marissa, how are you?
Good. Thanks for taking the time today.
Very
Let's go
welcome.
ahead and jump right into the questions.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about your role in the organization.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I'm the Chief People Officer and also the Chief Cultural Officer. So that's the longest title in the world ever. But it means that I look after the people and also the environment and the culture that the organization wants to ensure that we can bring the best people into the organization, retain those individuals, have them highly engaged, doing their best work in a place that supports them. So that's the kind of breadth of the role, I guess.
Sounds great. Big, important role at the organization, obviously. Um, let's go ahead. So, how has your business become more global in recent years?
Yeah, actually through a lot of acquisition. So inorganic growth and more, less organic growth and more inorganic growth. So we now have 17 sites that in different countries across both Europe and APAC. And our largest areas are in Australia, the UK, and the Netherlands. I'm becoming a more global organization really means a more diverse and a richer relation in terms of the cultural mix that we have.
Okay, great. What does the phrase global mindset mean to you?
Yeah, it's an interesting phrase that I think for me, it's an appreciation that there's so many different frames of reference that people come from. So if I'm from the UK, you can probably tell this isn't a native
Mhm.
Texan accent. So I come with my own frame of reference and different cultural references, and so does everybody else. And so making sure that there's an appreciation of that mindset and different perspectives, I think is really important, particularly in a workplace that's so kind of culturally diverse.
Perfect. So it's interesting. I think through acquisition, obviously, you're bringing employees into your culture and into your
Right.
business. So, exactly that. What does having a global mindset matter so much for employees at Verra
Yeah.
Mobility?
I think it's an appreciation and awareness and an empathy for others and their lived experiences. Those lived experiences of frame who you are. And so when somebody has a conversation with you, they're coming with all of that stuff and just an appreciation of that and having empathy for others, I think is just so important, particularly in the world we live in today.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Now, thinking about our students specifically, what advice would you give current students that are looking to have a global career in your organization or one very similar?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of two ways I think about this. You can have a global career by having a global team, right? You don't actually have to leave your home if you don't want to be a global leader within an organization. Lots of the leaders that I know have different parts of their team in different parts of the world, and so understanding and having an appreciation of that and what they bring to the table is really important. The second piece of that is, of course, the opportunity that you may get, if you're very lucky, to be able to go and live in a different country and work in a culture that's different from your own and a different environment.
Perfect. So, thinking again of as our students are working through their courses and thinking about what classes they should take, what stands out to you? What type of courses would really help with this global mindset?
I don't have a specific course in mind, but I do think anything that enables you to appreciate differences, be that culturally or the way that people think, helps you to be a better global leader.
Perfect. And I know many of our students have the ability to, travel abroad, take courses abroad. In addition to that, what other experiences would really help them as they look ahead to their career?
Yeah, I think taking on assignments to different countries to enable you to really immerse yourself in another country's culture in a different way than just kind of visiting a team member there is a really important opportunity. You know, it helps you think about, as a global leader, how you come across to the people in those different countries. You know, a classic example, and you and I, Marissa, have both been, you know, party to this,
Yes.
where you put a meeting out and you say, oh, 8 o'clock in the morning, US time. And that suddenly, you know, in the middle of the night for Australia doesn't work for Europe. And so you've got people scrabbling to try and figure out how they can come to your meeting. If you don't have a global mindset and understand and figure out how to manage in a way that enables all of your people to be included and to be able to kind of bring themselves in the best way to work, and not at 2 o'clock in the morning when, you know, everybody's tired and, you know, you can't bring your best self necessarily to that party.
Exactly. And I should have kicked that off at the beginning. You and I worked very closely at NI, and
We did
I know the
indeed.
company did a great job. We were very global with over 7,000 employees.
Yes,
And the company, as well as you as the leader, I think we always kept top of mind employees and cultures and time zones to make sure that everyone felt included and engaged in
yes.
the company and in the strategy. And I think that's really important for every individual, as you said, so they can show up as their best selves, be prepared, and really be engaged in whatever conversation is happening at that particular meeting.
That's right. And I was very lucky. I got to work in Europe with NI. I also got to work in APAC with NI and then coming over to the States. And, you know, I remember being in APAC and having those meeting invites that meant that it was 11 o'clock at night when I was supposed to be,
Yeah.
you know, on a call. And, you know, the opportunity there to kind of have a conversation with the leader. You know, a lot of the people in that country were not as kind of high up hierarchically as the person asking them to attend a meeting, and so there was pressure almost on that
Mhm.
individual to turn up, and not complain. So I was able to say, "Oh, hang on a minute, that's like 11 o'clock at night. Can we try this at a different time?" And push back a little bit. It really helped me for sure to understand how to be a better global leader by working in both the regions of APAC and in Europe prior to coming to the US.
Right. I completely agree. I think getting that exposure to different regions and different cultures and just sitting in the seat of those individuals, I
Yeah,
think helps you be a better leader and a better coworker as well. Again,
absolutely.
always keeping your employees and coworkers and team members top of mind and making
Right.
sure that it's easy for everyone. So
Right. It's easy to say we're a global company, but operating like a global company actually takes work and it takes thought and it takes thinking about the other person's experience.
exactly, being very intentional. I completely agree. Well, thank you again, Kate. This interview was fantastic. It definitely gives a very different and diverse perspective to our students. I have no doubt it'll be valuable as they look ahead to their careers and planning.
Oh, no problem at all. Hey, and one thing that I wanted to just mention, because this happens to me all the time as an employer. You know, I get a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'd like to go to Australia, or I'd like to go to the Netherlands, or I'd like to go to London," and I push back on them and I say, "Okay, well, tell me why."
Why?
And sometimes there's no story behind that, just because, you know, that doesn't really help. And sometimes I'll say, you know, okay, so tell me about your passport. Tell me about the different visa status that you have, what you need. Have you gone into any of that? And if the answer to those questions is no, no, and no, then the risk of an employer putting somebody on a secondment or on, you know, taking them into a different country is high because the person doesn't come across as having really thought about it. So my advice to students would be really think about it, consolidate your reasons for why you really want to go and work in a different country, and then you become a less risk option for an employer to put you into a different country. And so, you know, it might sound a little, you know, basic and trite, but you'd be surprised the number of people that want to do these things but don't come across as having thought about it at all. So really
Exactly.
thinking about it.
And I think that goes to what is the value that you're going to bring, right? Not just the
Right.
value that the individual is going to get out of traveling to a different country, but what value are you going to add to the
That's
business? I
right.
think it's really important as well.
Absolutely. It's a get-give
Yep.
relationship, right? I want to get something out of this experience, but I also want to give something. And, if an employer hears that, then they'll be, much more able to have confidence that you want to do that. The other thing, Marissa, I'd say, and I know this sounds, again, a little silly, is have the conversation with your leader, right? Let them know that at some point you would love to have a stint abroad as part of your career development. And, it might take years for that opportunity to come along. But if you haven't said it out loud, your manager just doesn't know. And so if you say it out loud and there is an opportunity, there's half a chance that that person will say, oh, hang on a minute, I remember the conversation I had through the performance review when so-and-so expressed an interest. This is an opportunity for them. Let me go and have a conversation with them. So make your views known and make your what you want to get out of a career at an organization known right at the start.
Yes, very, very good advice. Completely agree with all of your points. Again, I think this is going to be fantastic for all of our students. Again, it's a very different perspective. I know you play a very big role directly with employees at Verra Mobility, and in terms of the culture as well. And so, again, this is just a huge, very unique experience when it comes to that global mindset.
Absolutely. And good luck to the students and their careers, and definitely, definitely lean into the opportunity to go global. It's a fantastic experience and you won't regret it.